Hey, are you ready for Bundesliga Matchday 31? Then let's go! Before we start, make sure you press the like button and subscribe to this channel that you don't miss any of my picks. Thanks for your support, buddy. And we have 3 awesome games between the first 6 in the standings and also very interesting games in the bottom of the standings. Starting with Bochum versus Hoffenheim on Friday evening, with Bochum being the favorite with low odds of 2.2. And this just one look at the standings doesn't make any sense. No matter that Bochum is a good home team with only lost 3 games at home, they only were able to make 4 winners at home, and that's way too bad. And Hoffenheim could win 6 away games. The odds are good enough to bet on Hoffenheim and go for a draw no bet with 2.2 here. I like these odds on Hoffenheim, and I would say it's gonna be a 2-1 for Hoffenheim. On Saturday we have Augsburg hosting Werder Bremen, and that's interesting because Augsburg was losing last game day 3-1 at Frankfurt. And keep that in mind because Werder Bremen had a really surprising win of 2-1 against Stuttgart, and 3 weeks ago they were able to draw against this Frankfurt. So why should Augsburg be this clear favorite? In no consideration ever I would bet on a 3-way winning odd of 1.8 on a team like Augsburg. Enough said. I would say in this situation we have the option consider if Werder Bremen is worth it to bet on draw no bet, to make the odds of 4 a little bit lower to ensure a draw. But how likely is a win of Werder Bremen in this situation? I also would say very low, so we get the most interesting bet of 4.0 for a draw, and that's what I would do, betting on a draw with a 1-1 in this game. Bayern Munich versus Eintracht Frankfurt. In the first game in this season between these two teams, this was a 5-1, not for Bayern Munich, for Eintracht Frankfurt. But can they repeat this success against the second in the league? I would say maybe not in this dimension, but because of the Bayern Munich game versus Real Madrid, 3 days after this, Bayern has to rest their players. They won't be 100% concentrated and focused on Frankfurt. That's why the odds of 1.4 are ridiculous low. Forget about that. Same consideration, is Frankfurt able to beat Bayern Munich at Munich? No matter which team Bayern Munich is on the field, I would say no. That's why I think the best they can achieve is a draw. And how likely is a draw? 20%, maybe even more. That's why we get a lot of value if we bet a little amount of money on the draw to win 1 unit. And I think Frankfurt is able to get this draw. But you might see in this prediction that it's a complete different thing what I would say in a tipping game, because I think even with their worst players, Bayern Munich is able to beat any team in the Bundesliga, maybe excluding Leverkusen. But I would say a draw is good for a bet because of the high odds. The result should be like a 2-1 for Bayern. And maybe the most interesting game on this match day is Leipzig versus Dortmund, because we have the game between number 4 and number 5 in the standings, and Dortmund is 2 points behind Leipzig. They have to win to surpass Leipzig, and if there's a draw, this means trouble for Dortmund, and if there's a Leipzig win, it's almost a qualification for the Champions League for Leipzig, and it makes it impossible to reach the Champions League for Dortmund among the top 4 slots. And I hope, and I'm pretty confident after the last 2 Dortmund games, that they are not the underdog like the odds might suggest. I really don't understand why the Leipzig odds are so bad and so low, because I think it's complete equal it's a coin flip who will win this game, or maybe it's a draw. So at the end we get the best value bet on Borussia Dortmund here with draw no bet on Dortmund with odds of 3.4, and I would say in a tipping game Dortmund's gonna win this game with 3-2. Freiburg versus Wolfsburg, we can keep that short because the odds are bad in any direction. The only thing to consider here is the highest odds for a draw of 3.6, as Freiburg is not the clear favorite and Wolfsburg is not really worth to consider as a winner. The only thing we can do is a draw with odds of 3.6. With Leverkusen hosting Stuttgart. This is the top game between the first in the standings and the German champion in this year, Leverkusen, versus the other surprising team with Stuttgart. And the thing here is that Stuttgart was close to beat Leverkusen in both the games they had in this season, with 3-2 in the cup only and a draw in the first game. I would say the chances are really good for Stuttgart to get at least 1 point here, as we've seen last week that Dortmund was almost beating Dortmund, and the other reason is that Leverkusen has to face Roma in the semifinals. They don't have to collect any points in the Bundesliga because they are champion. That's why Stuttgart has chances here. And I just have to decide if there's a draw no bet on Stuttgart with 3.4. Interesting, but we don't win money here if there's a draw. Or is it better to bet directly on a draw? What do you think? I'm not really sure what to do. And if you're not sure what to do, then don't bet and don't waste money. Just pick the best bets and leave all the rubbish behind. But to be honest, it's not complete rubbish, because also if you get odds of 4 or higher on a draw in a game where a draw is very, very likely, you can't hardly make anything wrong in the long run. And that's how to make profit with high odds, with good decisions, with high probability bets. And this is a value bet. Like in this situation also, the highest odds is a draw, 3.4 in a game between two teams where you don't know who's gonna win. I know maybe Gladbach has a little bit of home advantage, but at the end, Union Berlin also needs the point because they are only 2 points away from relegation zone. That's a big motivation for Union Berlin. And why should Gladbach here be the top motivated team? With a winner, Union Berlin can go past Gladbach, and why shouldn't they use that? And in a game with the result, I would say it's also just a 1-1. Relegation battle between Mainz and Cologne. This is a tough one. Both are fighting against relegation, but Mainz has the way better situation with their last results, getting them out of the last 2 direct relegation spots. And they had 5 consecutive games not losing in the Bundesliga. Very great achievement of Mainz and their new coach Bo Henriksen. And Cologne was losing last game day, even against the last Darmstadt. So this was the kind of last hope for Cologne not to be relegated. That's why the odds are in favor, very, very in favor for Mainz. And I would say don't ever consider betting on this game. And as a result, I would say Mainz gonna win this with 2-1 or something like that. Also, in the last game of on this game day between the last Darmstadt and Heidenheim, there's nothing to win for both of the teams. That's why also it's just maybe a draw. But to be honest, I would say Heidenheim is the better team, and they will win the game with 2-1. And if you ask me about the best bet In an Ecker, I would combine two games on this game day, and these are two winners in a three-way, with Hoffenheim winning at Bochum, odds 3.0, and Borussia Dortmund winning versus Leipzig, odds 4.5, and combined you get odds of 13.5. So thumbs are pressed for Dortmund and Hoffenheim, and I hope you give the thumbs up for this video, and we see each other next time with a lot more money in the pocket.
Radek Vegas. There's no better.
Before we start, make sure you press the like button and subscribe to this channel that you don't miss any of my picks. Thanks for your support, buddy.